This is the Intermission Podcast.
We want to get to know our homeboys and homegirls and invite you into our space.
It's a whole mood of positivity.
The Intermission Podcast.
Welcome back to the Intermission Podcast, The Break with Your Homegirls.
Today, we'll be talking about WAP and the MegTheStallion and Tory Lanes drama.
It was about time. We have been just sprinkling it out, but now it's time. We got to actually talk about it. So y'all know what time it is. It's roll call. I'm Jessica E. Williams, a.k.a. CEO J. Will.
And I'm Jessie Denise.
And I'm Ivonnah.
All right. Let's start. Let's begin. First things first. If you have been living under a rock for the last month or so, or maybe you're just not into pop culture, I'll give you that. It's a lot of things going on in the world. Maybe the current state of female rappers is not your steez, okay? Cardi B, Barty, has released a new single as of late with her good friend MegTheStallion of Houston, Texas, called WAP. And for those of you who don't know what that stands for, WAP stands for wet ass pussy. And the edited version is wet and gushy. And so when this song was released, it caused quite the uproar in our society. Just so this is intermission after dark, okay? We're recording this at night. Ivonnah and Jess look ready for the club. I look ready for bed.
Yo, I'm about to go strut in my street after this, girl. Listen. Nah. I'll have a whole photo session in the middle of the street. What's good?
And so you guys are getting us in rare form. Anyway, WAP has been the talk of the town for the last month or so, and everybody's feelings about it. So we figured we should probably come and discuss. So, yeah, it's just a little song Cardi and Meg put out. It's definitely in their creative wheelhouse. It's a song about their sexual wants, desires, and needs. We'll leave it at that. People were very excited about the video.
Abilities.
Yeah, I was like,
sexual abilities.
The beginning of the song starts, "There's some whores in this house. There's some whores in this house." So that's just how the song starts. So I think you should know what you're getting yourself into at that point. And then from there,
fair warning, just
fair warning, especially for the saints, that are too holy and high and mighty.
First of all, no. Let me tell you something, saints. Second anything by Cardi B, you know what it is. Don't tell me you holier than thou and you starting on anything Cardi B, because she gonna keep it 100, 1,000 for the strippers. You know, that's her life and that's who she repping. She tell you all day, this is who I am and I'm not nobody's role model. She says it all the time. So and people are like, I am appalled. I'm like, wait, but you was listening?
What were you expecting?
What did you expect? It's not like you turning on Lecrae. You ain't turning on Yolanda Adams. Like, what the heck? You know what I mean? Like, you turned on ratchetness, and guess what you got?
You should expect
good servant of ratchetness.
That's exactly what someone said. They said, why do you expect, and I use this term loosely, they said, why are you expecting hoes to rap about molecular biology? Like, this is what they do. Like, this is what they're going to rap about. And y'all need to be.
That hoe can't be smart, but that's a whole nother story.
I'm just saying. And here's the thing. Since we've already started there, this is not like this is unusual for hip hop culture. Okay, are we? First of all, back that ass up as a song of a generation. Period. It doesn't matter. Tip drill. I knew I was forgetting something. Thank you. Tip drill. Uchi Wally. We can't forget that.
The jam.
Sorry, and I'm sitting here ready to sing it too.
I'm just saying.
Wally comes on.
Uchi Wally. That beat was alright though. We were listening to Janet earlier. There was If. Anytime, any place. Come on now.
Ludacris. Holding.
Yeah. What's your fantasy?
Okay, no, he did. Yeah, there's just too many. Let's just say that.
Where's a million?
About the one and only Uncle Luke. Like, what are we talking about?
Lord,
Let me tell you something.
that man had a whole show. Shows.
I just saying. Freak nigga in Atlanta, period. I mean, shake it around.
Just shake. I was in middle school when that came out. So
you know,
Push It was on it too. Salt and Pepper.
Thank you.
Baby
Got Back was offensive for the time. Anaconda, somebody had bought that up. So every
both
now and
anacondas.
then,
How about that?
both anacondas, right? You know, it's like every now and then everyone wants to get their panties in a bunch about these songs, and we'd be like, but there's so many. And even some of the old school songs, I've been listening to with my parents sometimes, like, so this is what this song is about, and everyone's cool with it.
Right. I should not have been singing All Night Long by Mary Jane Girls. I was like,
thank you. That's exactly the song I was thinking about. Thank you, Vaughn. That's what I was thinking about.
I used to be singing that to the loudest that I possibly
Hey, boy. It's all there. It's all there. And so, I don't know. Women expressing their sexuality on a track is really not nothing new. It's just not a thing. Yeah. But
they're actually saying, because I feel like all the songs that we're talking about, maybe the radio version of it was always edited. I'm still a person that I like the radio version better of songs. Mm-hmm. I've always been that way. Like, that's not just a I'm saved situation. That's just always been my preference. But I watched the video, which was edited with the regular words and with the, whatever. And then I listened to the lyric video that was the explicit version.
The lyric video is a time.
But I just feel like, is it because they're actually saying the P word, which I don't know that word anyway, but is it because she's saying the P word? Like, when it comes down to vulgarity and words that are right and wrong, those are all man-made rules. Like, I know the Bible says certain things about, like, words that come out of your mouth and things like that, but that's the same as saying something like, I hate you, I'm gonna kill you, watching the words that come out of your mouth. It's not necessarily talking about curse words or saying the P word or, stuff like that. Those words that were deemed wrong, like, why are they deemed wrong? I always have this question, like, why are curse words deemed wrong? Why are those certain, like, is it, I don't understand, I don't really, I'm trying to figure out what it is that has made people so angry at this song. But literally, I was this kid on TikTok. He had a stream of songs, of male songs, only the part where they said the P word, right? And he had them back to back in a minute on TikTok. I stopped and I was like, okay, this is enough. But I'm like, no one raised as much of a stink for these same songs. Why is this being raised so much? Because there's two women talking about their sexual preferences, and Cardi is a good grown married woman.
Married.
At the
Cardi
end
Cardi also likes to be choked, by the way. There was a lot of choking in that video, and Cardi seemed to enjoy every minute of it. So that's her and her husband. That's I'm not gonna fault her.
Like, if I was married, like, the marriage bed is undefiled. The Bible says that too. So
Bible. The
nastiest thing I heard in the song when it said "spit in my mouth," I said, "Anybody spit in my mouth? That's disgusting."
I hate that.
I think
I was like, the rest of the stuff, I was like, hey, that's what you like, that's what you like.
Yeah. And I think maybe people are like appalled because it was so detailed. It's like you take a peek into their freaky little world or their bedroom or whatever it is, like just giving you a moment and a minute into it. Because and previously, I mean, Cardi has said some things, but she ain't never detailed them. Like, now Megan has in her stuff. If you listen to her stuff, Megan, she tell you all this already. Like,
we always act like Megan did in Meg Big Old Freak. Like, y'all was twerking at the gas station over this song. Like, this is the same person. So what did y'all expect her to be rapping about exactly?
I don't know what they expected. I just want to know where all this uproar is coming from with women talking about their own bodies when men do it all the time, and the same uproar does not happen. And you have this expectation of a woman that she's supposed to be in a certain box. And because she stepped outside of that box, now it's not okay for you. And now you are, and I get it. When you are in the limelight, you are a role model. I know Cardi says she's not, but kids are going to look up to you. They are going to want to be like you. That's point blank period. Whether you want to be or not, that's just what it is. Right?
And parents should be parents.
But your parent,
That part.
you as the parent, my mother came and took my R. Kelly 12 play CD away. Okay?
Thanks, Mom.
Oh, yeah, 12 play.
Thanks. So she didn't.
And thank God you could have been at the house with everyone else.
She could have been a statistic.
Okay. But she was like, don't you hear that? Because I guess they were talking about it on the news or something, probably BET or something back in the day, talking about how bad the CD was. She was like, don't you hear that CD? I got it. Columbia House Penny, whatever.
So,
I was like, yeah. And I didn't know why she asked me. And I was like, yeah. She was like, right here. And I was like, okay. And she was like, I was like, look it. Like, I know it's easier said than done, and I know it's harder now because all of our kids have smartphones and, you know, stuff like that, and it's so easily accessible. I do think there should be some type of parameters put on many of the songs, as far as like being of age to listen to it and all that jazz. But at the end of the day, our kids are gonna figure out they're gonna figure out,
Just like we did.
they're gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
And I think it's you know, imagery we've seen before. It was a lot of water. It was a lot of lesbian innuendos. But like Nicki and Beyonce did it in Feeling Myself. So it's all things we've seen before. If you remember, people were hella mad at Beyonce when Drunken Love came out. And all these songs, they were like, Beyonce is so sexual now. Like, people were like, how do you feel about that? I was like, that she's married. Like, I'm not pressed.
Now
like,
she's a wife. This is the thing. This is where society has it backwards. Oh, now she's a wife and she wants to be sexual.
Well,
that's when you're supposed to be, not when you're single. Like,
so when is she supposed to be?
When is she supposed? You know what I mean? It's like people have it backwards, and it's like, I get it. Like, you're someone's wife and you're this and you're that, and a lot of men they want the woman to be, you know,
a lady in the street and a freak in the sheets,
all that stuff. But and I get it. Like, all the stuff Cardi's talking about, I was like, whatever. Would I want the world knowing what I do for my man? No, absolutely not. But that's just me and how I am. But if she wanted to tell people how to do it, like Lisa Rinna was talking about it on the show when she wrote about it in her book, and she was saying, well, I think her kids read the book, and she was talking about how to give head. And she was like, well, at least they learned how to do it properly. And I was like, oh my God.
I mean,
Cardi's just like, I'm trying to show you how to do it then. I'm gonna give you some pointers to keep you in.
Listen, and that's what a few people said. They said if y'all was taking more notes from Beyonce than complaining, then maybe some of your marriages.
If y'all would stop being all upset and such a prude and stick up your butt, you would be writing down some notes about this stuff.
Your divorce rate would be less if you did.
You'd be fact checking some of this stuff. Huh? Put
and I feel okay. And I feel like, you know, of course we know what this is, right? This is misogyny. It's like men's been doing this for a million years, and now women are doing it and empowered in doing it, and y'all feel some type of way. I don't know about all these. Cardi was like, we just wanted all these strong women in the video that we feel like is strong, which is why Kylie and Mulatto and all the other people. Let me tell you something. Normani looked like she was gonna get a whooping for being in the video. The way she was doing the choreography, like, there's some hoes in this house. She looked like my grandma and my mama are gonna whoop me for being in this video. Which was funny. And I think to you guys' point about being a role model, I think people think, what are the young girls who are out there listening to this song with their friends? Like, what are they going to think? And what they should think is that your parents should be paying attention to you, so that you're not just out here in these streets doing whatever you want.
Whatever. And they are going to try to emulate them. That's what's going to happen. They're going to try to emulate. They're going to try to be doing it for their boyfriends, which they shouldn't be. You know what I mean? And just being fast or whatever. That is going to happen. But at the end of the day,
I mean, and you have to set parameters for, like, you have to teach your kid. The best thing you teach your kid is to think critically for themselves, right? Yeah. So, like, we all grew up in the 90s. If we had done everything we heard in the song or everything we saw in the video, where would we be right now?
Exactly.
In our lives? I'm like, at some point you need to recognize you know, this is for entertainment purposes. It might not be age appropriate entertainment for you. Mm-hmm. And, you know, you got to set those parameters and boundaries, but you shouldn't be out here like at the school dance talking about my WAP. Girl, go sit down.
I don't
somewhere.
even know if most of the complaints was the fact like they're like, oh, my kids listen to this. Most of the complaints, that's why they was like, are you complaining because you dry? And that's what a lot of people was like. And then the Republican that was like, I accidentally listened. Mother effer, you ain't accidentally listened to nothing, sis. You scroll through. You mean to tell me WAP just magically appeared on your laptop?
Let me tell you why that's funny.
And the second you heard that beat drop and heard there's some hoes in this house. The second you heard it's some wet and even if it was gushy, you kept listening.
Shut
up. And then you gonna be mad about it? Shut up. And then you gonna post about it? Shut up. Come on.
And let me tell you what's funny about this. Knight and I had a conversation the other day about this song because he was like, how do you feel about it, just because he always be running stuff by me? And I was like, nigga, honestly, I don't care. I'm like, that's them. I don't expect anything different from them. What's the beef? So we were talking about this whole situation. When I said, you know, people are saying that the song is degrading, but I'm like, if something is degrading, then that means it's offensive and you wouldn't listen to it. I think the issue is people think that it brings up opportunities for people to objectify women. But I'm like, but they making themselves objectifiable. So I'm like, I don't. Right. So I'm like, if
degrading is when the man is talking about it and a man is doing this and the man is saying, you know, whatever, you know, like that's when it's degrading. They are talking about themselves and what they like to do. So how is it degrading? I get the whole, you know, I don't know.
It could be considered objectifying, but I'm like, if you're putting yourself in that position, this is your creative wheelhouse. This is what your artistic offering to the world. I'm not gonna stop you, sis. I was like, either you're a person that gets down like that or you know somebody that gets down like that, and we're not gonna judge you for it. It's just like, it is what it is. Now, I can't say I can see problem areas in terms of for artists who, and this has been an issue too, because Jermaine Dupri listened to the song and apparently said something about like, oh, now all they doing is out here making stripper music. And Cardi had to like make a comment about it. And what she was saying was, as a female MC, she was like, I know plenty of women who are not rapping about they WAPs and nobody's supporting their music. And she was like, and when I made Be Careful, she said people were very disappointed in me. They were like, this is not what I was expecting. I wanted something different. So there is a trap. Knight and I also talk about this artistically for women in general, specifically women of color, where we know historically our bodies have been over-sexualized. You know, we watched it with Nicki. I think that's a lot of why she sort of had to take a sabbatical and become a housewife, which is something she wanted to do and like be a mother. But I think that there is a trapping in having a sexual persona that's not necessarily authentic to you. Like Nicki was a battle rapper for a lot of years, and then she got with Young Money and they over-sexualized her, and then she was kind of stuck in this box. And even though she tried to like be an actress at some point and like move out of that, it's like you kind of trap yourself and lock yourself into sort of a one-dimensional format artistically if you're engaging in that, and that's not necessarily all of who you are if you don't pivot at the right time. That's what me and Knight say. We'd be like, Nicki was doing all right, but she didn't pivot. She didn't pop. Like when she should have just been like, okay, well that was part of me and now I'm doing something else. So that's the thing. I can also see the transactional lyrics in terms of like sex for things being problematic. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you know, like ride him so he'll buy you a car, like pay my college tuition, like things like that. Or when
that always happen. That doesn't always happen.
I'm like, okay, then that's getting in the realm of prostitution a little bit now.
That's in the realm. That's in the box. That's in the area.
It's in the wheelhouse. It's in the prostitution wheelhouse.
So many times before. They've talked about it so many times before. Basically, they said stop effing for McDonald's. And real talk, like that. This goes back to like you and your parents should be having a conversation, sis.
Exactly.
Like, because you know, because
remember last year,
as awkward as it is for parents to have that conversation with their kids and stuff, it is a conversation you need to have. Because why is homegirl effing for McDonald's though? Like, and because you ain't even told her like, you ain't got to put her on so much game where it's like the power of the P and stuff like that. But the value of what you have and who you are and what you can bring to the table, and valuing yourself to a point like you, whoever it is that you choose to go down that road with, that they also value you and have proven to you that they're worth sharing yourself with, you know what I mean? If that's what you're doing, you know what I mean? Because a lot of us is just like, it ain't happening, period. But it's still a conversation regardless if you're like, my kid ain't having sex until they grown, until they married. You still need to have that dang conversation, because guess what? They live in this world where everybody else is doing it and they homegirls is doing it. And so therefore you need to educate them so that at least they have that instilled in them, so they ain't running all around letting anybody put their hand anywhere. And you know what I mean? And so I'm like, and also, so these women ain't telling them, do it transactionally, do it for a bag.
Right.
You know, teach them to get in their own bag. You know, secure your bag, not a bag.
Get in your own bag, sis.
Yeah. Right. Secure your bag, not a bag. Okay. Yeah, right. But that's you know what I mean? Like, instead of letting them just live life and hit all the bumps in the road, I do like the fact that, you know, they are talking more about like, yo, don't be over here effing for McDonald's. But it is coming up to be a little bit more problematic, like transaction.
Yeah, because there's like a catch-22 thing, because it's like, well, if you're doing this for him, then what are you getting out of it? Which
exactly
is also a thing, because sometimes it's like, I'm not just having sex for him, I'm having it for me.
And if that's the thing, if that is a person's thing, they just need to be able to identify that that's what that thing is. Because a lot of times, people are not just having sex for the sake of having sex for themselves. At least both parties are not on that same page. Right. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, and now it's more people are like that, but both parties are not there. There's one person who actually likes this person, wants them to like them, and they're giving themselves, you know, and it could be the man, it could be the woman, you know what I mean? But just being able to have that conversation, still, it needs to be had, like with the kids and stuff, so that they can learn to identify what that is inside of themselves and learn how to get to the answer more quickly. So when they are presented with these things, they know what they feel about themselves, how they value themselves, and what they're willing to do and not to do.
Right.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, you know, you don't want the message to be your worth is between your legs, right? Which is like the worst possible scenario that this could teach a young woman, right? Which is not a thing. But it's also like, by the same token, yes, you want to be having those conversations. You want to make sure people have standards for their sexual life and their sexual practices, health-wise, but also to make sure that they're emotionally mature to deal with all the things that happen with sex. Like, you know, you're sharing not just bodily fluids, but emotions. It's like you could be, you know, there's a lot of romanticizing around, you know, your first time and this, that, and the third. And so people are young and doing these things and having these ideologies. And then, you know, this dude just trying to get some sloppy with his homeboys on the team. And so that's, for a young woman, that can be a confusing thing. You feel me? And so I think that there's a lot of conversations that needs to be had around that. And I think that's mad important. So, yeah.
It definitely is that, because even people are blaming Meg for getting shot in the foot on the song. Like, well, she's not putting herself with respect. She's not putting herself with their respect. So that means Tory Lanes could just shoot her in the foot because they were having an argument and she was walking away. Like, people are literally placing value on her life for the lyrics
on a song.
Of the song. And that is what really, you know what I'm saying, it was frustrating for me. Like, I was literally in tears yesterday listening to her story, because she was like, this is why Black women don't feel protected. And I hate that the two right now are going hand in hand. Like, people are really basing these song lyrics on protecting her and other Black women. Well, if you're not going to respect yourself, then why should I? So you should get shot?
Yeah, like,
her getting shot was before the song even came out. So that it shouldn't even come up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he tried to crash.
Right. And I'm like, and I feel like if you already had an issue with her, like, in her music before, this was like a prime opportunity for you to jump on that. And I feel like that it shouldn't be, because the other thing is, like, Cardi's a mother. She shouldn't be singing this type of music, right? Or like, Megan is a college student. She's educated. She shouldn't be doing, I'm like, So both those things can't be true, and they can't have sexual desires.
That's
Like
what
I'm confused.
You can't be a freak and be college education.
Oh, but your president can grab people's coochies?
There's so many things.
I'm sorry, when he was just a candidate and you voted for him? Sorry. Like what?
That's a lot of things.
He ain't over here trying to protect the whole entire nation.
No.
But
more harshly? Really?
Exactly.
Out of here.
But but I want to dig deeper into this Tory Lanes, MegTheStallion situation. So let's put a pin in this and come back to it because we got some more digging to do.
Tory Lanes,
it's time. It's time. This section I would like to call. Here's the thing with me: when I do this weird thing with celebrities where I find out their full government name because it helps me humanize them. Because I think when it comes to celebrity issues, we like to act like they're not people. And so I would like, in the spirit of that, I would like to call this next segment, The Inevitable Defeat of Megan Jovan Ruth Pete from Houston, Texas, and Daystar Peterson from Brompton, Canada. So
Daystar, wait a second,
Daystar Peterson. I just want to point that out. So
yes,
you can refer to them as Meg TheStallion and Tory Lanes. I will be calling Daystar. Megan and Daystar because they two kids in their 20s doing dumb stuff at this point. So I have my thoughts, but what would y'all like to say?
I'm just saying they ain't doing dumb stuff. He doing dumb stuff.
Yeah.
Is he deported yet? Yeah.
Good.
I think.
Oh, he's
can't shoot somebody.
I think he's back. I think they sent him back to Canada, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm.
He can stay his little Dayton, whatever stuff over there.
I have
like the Christian Network.
Well, I didn't have an experience with him. I witnessed an experience with him on a show I was working on.
Is he truly a little man? Because I heard that's part of the problem. He suffers from the itty bitty man complex.
Itty bitty man complex. And he was extremely late.
Oh. And unprofessional.
My bad, y'all. I fell asleep. So, and I don't know how much I don't remember how much I can talk about the show behind the scenes. But I was just like,
oh, we don't like that.
That right there had rubbed me the wrong way. Because I was just like, you're not even considering this other person. Okay.
So it is selfish. That's what you're saying. It's a selfish young man.
Mm-hmm. And
okay.
He's not that big yet. You're not that dude yet. Sorry.
Now you're not going to be, because JoJo and Kalani have both taken him off the deluxe versions of their album.
I saw that. I said, okay, Kalani, I see you out here in the streets.
Kalani got to stick with her rap friends.
Yeah,
because that you. Hello. This is where she lived. This is her people.
Her and JoJo. JoJo was like, no, he's off.
I feel like period poo. I feel like the public had an issue with this because the public never does well with surprise relationships. So this was nobody knew they was together, so everybody was like, what's happening? Mm-hmm. And I feel like that was the first sort of like awkward part of this situation. And then the crowd speculation happened. Now I hadn't seen the TMZ videos until today, so I didn't know. I know the proper term is Megan was shot in her feet, but I like to say feet for emphasis. And so I saw the TMZ footage today of Tory laid out in the streets, and then Megan had to get out of the car with her bloody feet. She was leaving bloody footprints or paw prints, as my mama said. She said she out here leaving bloody paw patrol prints. I said, yeah. And so Megan is hobbling on her little feet, trying to get down, and then her homegirl comes out the back. And so I think that as we look at this as a whole, it is 3 Black kids and Tory's security guard, according to Meg, 5 minutes from the house where Megan is staying. So this did not happen at Kylie's residence, as people were reporting. And it's 3 Black kids in a car with a gun, and the LAPD show up. So apparently Meg said, we was all arguing. I hopped out the whip. I was walking away. And then Tory just shot me from the back seat, like pow pow, like sight unseen. And of course, they're in a white neighborhood, so the neighbors called the police, and the chopper was out. The police came. I mean, it's 3 black kids with a gun in a car in the LAPD. What would you have done?
Precisely.
In light of everything that's going on. And Meg said that. She was like, you know, I grew up in a certain neighborhood. We don't tell the laws. She kept the laws. If I had told the laws, she don't tell the laws her business, which is cultural. Stop saying it's snitching, as everyone has been saying. That is for organized crime life only. Right. Megan is a tax-paying citizen. Right. It's not the same.
Snitching is when you and your Cody do something and your Cody snitch on you. That's snitching. When y'all end up together and one of y'all want to rat the other one out. That is snitching, my friend. Telling someone, telling the police or whoever that you got shot and who shot you?
Because you're the victim.
Seeking help.
Right. You're the victim of an actual crime. And I just hate that black men and black women are being so divisive about it, as if they're really sides to pick. I think we all have valuable lessons that could be learned here, which is, you know, and it's so sad that Megan felt like she really had to protect them. Really all of them, honestly, because they could have all gone out in a haze of bullets. It is the Los Angeles Police Department, okay? We all grew up with Rodney King. We know these stories. So, like, that's like the worst police situation you could possibly be in Los Angeles. And that she felt like she had to protect him. And then he started telling all these stories about she was hitting me first. This was happening, that was happening. And it was all lies because he was trying to save face for the fact that he shot Meg.
When she said, I tried to protect him and y'all didn't try. Oh, she said, I tried to spare him and y'all mother effers didn't try to spare me. And I was like my heart broke. Because one thing, she's my kid's age. That's number one. She's my kid and my niece's age. If somebody shot my niece, y'all would have to raise a collection to get me out of jail because I'm killing somebody. You shoot my niece, I don't care. In the foot?
In the feet. And here's why I had a problem with that. Aside from gun violence is a problem. Gun violence against women is very high statistically. I know the Smiths are in the doghouse with many, but if you had not seen the Red Table Talk about gun violence against women and Black women specifically, Lauren Linder was on the episode. It's a very powerful episode, but the statistics are like crazy, like 80-something, 90-something% of women are shot by their lovers, boyfriends, husbands, et cetera, et cetera. And as if that was not already trash, you gonna shoot her in her feet. Like, that's how she make her money. We all know Megan twerks for a living and dances for a living. And the fact that you would take her livelihood away from her because of what, Tori? What? For what?
I don't care, how mad you get at somebody. You shoot them and then drag her name through the dirt after she's trying to protect you because she was afraid that you were gonna get killed. And the men who, I need to know what she provoke him. What she do to provoke him?
To get shot.
Get shot? If she smack your mama and punch your kid in the face, I don't know what she could have possibly done to provoke you. So that's why, all these men, 1 minute you screaming protect Black women, and then the next minute you scream, well, what did she do to provoke him? That's why we don't y'all.
Nobody deserves to get shot.
No. Nobody deserves to get shot.
You shot her, bro. Look, at the end of the day, I don't care if you was yo, she hit me. Then nigga, dude didn't restrain her, bro.
Exactly. He's too little.
Her.
He's too little. He's too little to restrain her.
Little pathetic, bruh. You shot her. You're trash. You're trash. Don't come back to the United States. You trash. And they better drop him from the label, trash head ass.
Well, the crazy part about it is he was out. He's done with this label. So whatever his last project was, he's already done. So this isn't like his record label is going to come to his rescue with his legal fees. He will be paying all of that out of pocket, which is sad. And I was happy, Michael Bakari Jordan said something. Chance the Rapper said something. These are people who have been on the wrong side of history a few times. But they got it right this time. Tip was my favorite. Tip literally said, how you gonna shoot a girl in a bikini, bruh? Like, I don't understand. Like, what? How you? This is unacceptable, and it's really preposterous. He said, Tory, you got to say something. You can't just let this slide. He said, even if you just call somebody on the phone, personally, you have to speak. Like, you can't just not say nothing. And I said, that's fair. And my favorite statement that I would like to read, because I think it ties into what we've been talking about, came from Mario, who we were listening to earlier today, who I had the pleasure of meeting at the Millennium Tour. Very wonderful guy, has overcome a lot of his own personal traumas, okay? He could be out here Tory Lanes it up himself, but he's tried to elevate, okay? Growth. Mario said, this at the Stallion and at Tory Lane situation got me in awe. Sad AF. Knowing Tory personally, this is crazy to me. Black men, we got to learn how to control our ego, anger, etc. At some point, the switch got to turn off. Protect Black women, heal Black men, love and respect each other.
Yeah.
Well, if I tell you that Mario actually had to make a statement about that statement, he was like, I don't understand. He said, some of you are so ignorant, like people are profiting off of your ignorance. You need me to explain what I just said? He was like, my statement is my statement. And I said
what I said.
I said what I said.
And don't at me.
He was like, what's confusing about what I said?
What's confusing about that? Because that's all it is. It's ego, it's little man syndrome, it's all the things.
It's all the things.
It's little man ego for sure.
It's little man for sure.
I'm so
because
I'm so
because someone close to me was like, I don't know if Megan was dragging. He said, I don't know, maybe he was losing a fight. He just felt like he had to get at her. But I was like, shooting is extreme though, bro. Like that's petty.
Did you see who was it? Larry Sims or Larry somebody, football player?
I saw a basketball player. I don't know about a football, but what did he say?
I think he's a former football player, Larry somebody. He said, if you go around with a guy who coined the term demon time, you can't be mad
at things
happening in demon hours. Oh, they pulled his receipts.
They pulled his receipts quickly.
They pulled his mugshots. Ain't this you? Ain't this you? Ain't this you?
You want
battery?
He was an abuser. Yeah.
Abusing your girlfriend? Pulled his receipts.
Yeah.
Don't come.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm standing up for my boy because we are part of the same team. Well, you did not help Tory anyway.
At all.
What's his name? Don Dayton, whatever. What is his name?
Oh, Daystar. That's his Daystar Peterson. And I feel like there was someone else I saw in the shade room today, which I guess is one of Kanye's artists, which we could leave that there. But what he said was, he said, sometimes women just have to do a better job. It was a little victim blaming. Better job about realizing who they're around. He was like, these were the things he said. He said, you just got to, make sure that, this person is not an abuser. And they were like, all the women going in, well, tell me some things that I could do to make sure that this person isn't going to abuse me. He was like, do a background check. Talk to their mama and daddy. Talk to their friends. This was my favorite. Watch how they eat with their silverware to see if somebody raised them. I said, huh?
Who said this?
This artist, that's Kanye's artist. And my mom said, silverware. She said, that he makes a lot of sense. I said, what you mean? She said, if somebody's holding their fork like this and eating like this, that means nobody raised them. That means they could be about that life.
They shoveling
now,
it. They shoveling it.
If they shoveling it, you remember in Beauty and the Beast where he was doing all this and it was not it.
Like this.
That could be a red flag.
I do that. Oh God.
So people was going in on him, but I was like, as a grown adult person, you do need to watch the company you keep, okay? Yeah. And there could be some red flags, right? That person might have had some issues, or there could have not been. Mm-hmm. This could have been just, Tory, this what you do? Because that's what it sounded like. Meg was like, I don't even know what's happening, which is problematic. And
I'm glad it came out now instead of her being for hella long.
Listen,
it could have been so much worse. Imagine
so much worse.
Could have made it to her house. Like, it could have been so much
it's
worse.
so much worse.
Mm-hmm.
And he, of course, received Donkey of the Day this Friday from Charlemagne. And Charlemagne made a beautiful point as well, which he said, you know, you got to deal with your trauma before your trauma deals with you. He said, obviously, Tory Lanes is going through something in his life because he thought that was an appropriate thing to do. That's never a conflict resolution potential scenario. Like that's like the worst possible thing. And a lot of people want to be in relationships, but they don't do that kind of work. Like, you need to know how to de-escalate situations. You need to know how to walk away, which Meg was doing, by the way. And I don't know how it escalated to like,
pow pow.
You gonna walk away from me? You ain't gonna walk away from me because I'm finna shoot you in your feet. That's what's finna happen. Your feet. And so I am as much, and then there's black men and black women just taking sides and fighting with each other and doing all this kind of stuff, which is ridiculous, which I'm like, let's all just try to learn a valuable lesson from this if we can. Like, let's listen to what's going on. You know, there's some things we're not going to know because we didn't know the details of this relationship. It was very much a surprise relationship. So, you know, there are some things that I wish we could know so that, because this is new. We've all heard a lot of crazy things, okay, in terms of relationship, but shooting somebody in the feet is new. So we just need to know.
Somebody was like, they weren't in a relationship. They're just friends.
I don't even care if they're friends.
Regardless. I'm
no
not,
one would ever.
My friend that's even worse to me because you're my friend. You should be my friend. It's not even
because
like,
we're having a disagreement.
Passion or nothing. It's just we having an argument.
I'm mad. Pow, pow. I'll shot you on your feet.
This is also where I'd be like, people need to shut up, because remember the beginning of this, it was all like, it was Kylie and she should have thought Kylie instead. And I was like, shut up. Because I don't think you can fact check this just now. Just give it some time for the details to come out. And then everything comes out as completely different. Kylie ain't nowhere in sight. Not even over there.
Completely different.
All right, guys.
But now that you brought Kylie up, this is another racial disparity and inequity, right? Because had Tory done this to Kylie, who is white, I just want to remind everyone before she got the work done, this nigga would have been under the jail. You heard what I'm saying? Like there would have been none
of us would have known about it, but he would have came up missing because Chris would have had him killed. That
whatever.
Night, he would have been MIA forever.
It would have been done though. Like it would have been a wrap if Kylie would have said something, or if it would have gotten out that somebody did something to her. They would have canceled him immediately. There would have been no question about it. They would not have questioned her story. They would not have thought she was lying. They would not have said, what did she do to provoke him? None of that would have been said. None of that.
A black man and a white woman, it wouldn't even been an issue. And so I feel like that is also one of the most tragic parts of the story, is that aside from the fact that something clearly went terribly wrong, Tory is clearly going through some things, and Megan is going through some things, because let's not forget the last live she did, she was crying about, you know, having been without her parents and growing up now in her 20s trying to figure things out. And just because somebody has a camp don't mean that the camp is down for them, okay? It's a lot of yes men. It's a lot of yes men.
When it happened, do you know if this would even been going down in the car? Let a dude talk to Von or you like that. When I'm up in the car, oh, bruh, you ain't even got to worry about one of them hitting you. I'm coming from the back seat connecting with your chin, bro. You're not going to talk to my sisters like that. You know what I mean? He would have never been able to pull a gun out on you. Never.
And what's crazy,
we would have jumped that fool.
Daystar security was actually in the car with them. That's the crazy part. So I was like, you just decided you weren't going to step in? Like, this wasn't a thing?
There's so many like, those are the questions we should be asking.
Those are the questions we should be asking.
Not what did she do to provoke him? Why is your security? Because she said she was in the front and he was in the back seat.
Exactly.
So, like, there's just so many things. So it's like, why was security? Why did he not step in? And these are the questions, not what did she do? We don't hear what she did. You don't shoot nobody.
And to have to deal with all the racial inequities of, you know, this is already a volatile situation. We can't trust the laws. And that if these were two white kids, I don't know. I feel like this would have gone a very different way. That people would have pressed, you know, charges, the Time's Up movement would have showed up, and everybody else, like, it would have been a whole situation. But yet again, you
would
have
have been talking to Gail on a couch somewhere.
right. You got two Black kids who are in the world of hip hop, and y'all feel like this is acceptable. And at the end of the day, these are both somebody's kids, somebody's brother and sister, cousin, niece, nephew, Megan and Daystar. Do you know what I mean? Who are, just because they have money and influence and a career path, don't mean that, listen, you're a rich nigga with problems. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so, you know, I hope that we can unpack this further as things come out, so we can all learn something, man. There's always something to be learned from these situations, whether you are rich or famous or not. But I thank God it could have gone another way, because when my mom first told me Megan got shot, I was ready to fall apart. Like, I was like, girl, we done lost too many to the streets for this gun violence situation. And so I was like, oh, she's injured, not fatally wounded. I was like, you have to understand my heart. I have palpitations about these kinds of things. And just in gun violence in general. And we could get into a whole nother scenario on another day and talk about gun violence laws in this country, and, you know, how guns make it to the hood, and all of those systemic racism issues. But the fact that a Black woman felt like she needs to protect a Black man's life from the police whilst being a victim of a horrible crime makes me want to leave America for like 3 to 5 years. I think I'm kind of done now. Like, this was a lot to unpack today, to be like, would I have called the cops? Probably not.
Probably not. That's what I'm saying. People are angry at her, like, well, why is she just not coming out and saying what? You're not listening to her. She was afraid for their lives because Black people are being killed by the police every single day for no reason. That's why. That's where her mind went. Her mind didn't go, because we are Black women. We do that. We don't think about ourselves first. We put ourselves last all the time. She was shot, and she still thought about her and her other friend that they were with before she even thought to even press charges against him, because she did not want him being killed by the police. Like, what the F, people? Like, I don't understand. Like, the victim blaming is just at a 10 right now, and it's frustrating and it's infuriating. Like, I just be like, yo, I'm done with y'all, women and men. Like, well, what she do provoking is the men, and then why she just not speaking up now, the women? Like,
it's too much.
I feel like during this time, especially like with the Black Lives Matters and everything, we all been like, it's for the culture, for the culture. Well, I need the culture to fix itself and protect the women in the culture, because like, protect the culture. If that's the case, like, deal with this, and the right way of dealing with this. And hey, yo, if you want to be like, we deal with this within ourselves and within the culture, then deal with what is right and what's wrong. And what is wrong is that a brother should have never pulled a gun out on anybody. Like, real talk, bruh, man need to do jail time. That's just what it is. If we look at the laws, niggas need to do jail time, period. You know, period. And pay her for the loss of wages. You feel me? Okay.
Right.
All right. And for the
like, in the trauma, like, that's traumatizing.
You know,
I mean, she has had to put pictures of her feet on the internet. Like, there's pictures of her wounds floating around now. I'm like, girl, you ain't got to do all this now. This is too much. You need to draw the line. And as much as these people support your livelihood, you don't owe them that. That's too much now.
But she feels like she needs to do that, which is sad.
But she do. Like, if she don't owe none of it, it's just like, nobody is like, everyone's like, no, it didn't really happen. She's like, well, you got to see the bullet come out, you know?
Right.
So it's just like, no.
And she was damned if she do, damned if she don't, right? Because like somebody said that I was watching today, they were like, if she had said something in the moment, you know, and Daystar was tragically killed, you know what I mean? Then it would have been like, oh man, got Tory killed because she was running her mouth. So it is unfortunate that Black men and Black women feel so completely unprotected by the system that we gotta lie on, like, we gotta tell a lie of omission to save someone's life. We shouldn't have to do that.
I need the culture to be better.
And we need the culture to be better. And this is to the point also why we wanted to bring this up as we continue on this men are trash journey, which this is a prime example of trash behavior. But trash behavior And the fact that, of course, women are running to the defense of Meg, and men are running to the defense of Tory, which I really don't. Some men, let me put it to you like that.
Yeah.
A lot of men are like, never. This is unacceptable. But I also feel like people have been saying, y'all need Black men need to start holding Black men accountable before it escalates to these types of situations.
Hello.
If you are Daystar's homeboy and when he get a little liquored up, he act wild. If he on that white, he act wild. If you need to take some personal responsibility for your homeboy and just de-escalate the situation. Mm-hmm. As much as, women, if you got that homegirl, you always know be on 25 and there's a lot of hands in the face and
this number.
All it is, this
you that Rihanna girl.
This is a public service announcement. If you have the two fingers in your dude forehead, it's not going to end well for you. Mm-hmm. If you talk about a nigga's mama, it's not going to end well for you. If you don't keep your hands to yourself, that's the thing. Men and women, stop touching each other.
We learned that in kindergarten.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Using your feet to yourself.
Just keep them to yourself. Walk away, take a break, do what you got to do to de-stress and de-escalate. Mm-hmm. But it's a problem. And I feel like instead of us all going to our separate camps and corners, this is the time we all need to be communicating and not living inside of our traumas, because this can happen again. It probably will happen again. Hopefully not to Megan and Daystar, but other people. You know what I mean? That it happened before. It's tragic. So let's just try to do better as a people. We're gonna do our part on this show. We're gonna keep talking about it. We're gonna keep pushing our homeboys to be better, our homegirls to be better. I bet not never hear about none of y'all that we get shot in the feet by some crazy man.
Ciao.
Daystar.
You better watch how he eating his food.
You better watch for you better watch for how he eating his food. And don't be so busy out here giving your WAP that you got the people confused. You know what I mean? You just all in the WAP hypnotizing, and now you just putting up with anything. Okay, that's for both parties. Okay, just don't let the sex get you so confused. You're just out here doing silly stuff. Okay, be aware, be cognizant, be safe out here, be vigilant. You gotta wear a mask, wash your hands, worry about the corona. Be careful of your WAP. Be careful of your WAP powers and energies, and not get shot in the feet. And this has been the Intermission Podcast. WAP, Megan Peters, and Daystar Peterson. And we hope that you've enjoyed your time with us today. And we'll be back for more with Men Are Trash when the series continues. That's it. We out.
Bye.
We'd love to hear from our homies, so feel free to email us at IntermissionHG, as in homegirls, that's IntermissionHG @gmail.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram at IntermissionHG. Until next time, this has been A Break with Your Homegirls.